what's like 3 to 5 good things that she's going to need to work on before she does her first competition?
Working on, I would say, 1, finding the right coach. I wouldn't be a coach hopper.
Back in it, baby, just stay in a town. I'm on the edge, I ain't coming down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Garbage to Gold podcast. Today, I have Elizabeth Nieder, professional bodybuilder, and you're part of the, what do they call it? It's not the IBJJF. IFBB. So I'm into like grappling, and that's IBJJF, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna fuck that up. So you are with the IFBB, and how long have you been a professional bodybuilder?
I turned pro June of 2023, so just a little over a year now.
How do you like being a professional bodybuilder?
I love it. It's hard, but it keeps me on track for the most part.
How long have you been lifting? Because it seems like you've been like really into training for quite some time, because you weren't always like super jacked.
Correct. I'd say I started the end of like 2014, early 2015, getting into the whole bodybuilding. But I didn't really take it serious until about 2020, end of 2022. It was more of a for fun, stay in shape kind of thing for me.
Right. What made you want to take it to like the next level and start competing?
So I got into bodybuilding because I saw Dana Lynn Bailey win in 2014. She won women's physique at the Olympia, and she was the first woman to win women's physique, and she was just beautiful. She had muscles. I didn't realize you could be pretty and have muscles, and so after I saw her, I decided to try it out and see what happens.
So 2014, that was the first time that they had like a women's division?
Women's division for women's physique.
The physique, okay.
That's not what I compete in, but that's how I got into bodybuilding.
Nice. So what are like the different divisions and weight classes in the women's division? Like, can you break that down so people can understand?
So women's classes don't really have weight limits besides bodybuilding might. I don't do women's bodybuilding, so I'm not sure about that one. But there is a new one called Fit Model, and it's exactly how it sounds. You barely work out, you look stick lean, and you could probably do the Fit Model division.
So that's kind of like your easy, kind of beginner level?
I would say that's beginner level, and they just started it this year, so they're not sure what they're looking for just yet. They're trying to figure it out as they go. There's women's bikini, which is still very feminine, some muscle, little bit more glute kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's women's wellness, which is newer, and that is more of a big legs, big glutes. You see a lot of Brazilians in that category. Okay. They have some upper body, still fairly lean, but their glutes are just out of this world. And then there's women's figure, which is what I do. Mm-hmm. It's more all around proportions, kind of big, kind of still small, still very feminine, fairly lean for the most part. And then women's physique, which is a little bit bigger, a little bit harder, leaner, a little grainier kind of thing. I'm not sure if they have weight classes or not, but most of these classes...
They're not really weight.
Yeah, they're more height classes.
Okay.
When you're in the amateur league. Once you hit the pro league, you go against everyone that's in that class.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, you have women's bodybuilding, which I don't know a ton about, but they might have a weight class in the amateurs.
So what constitutes you like as a pro?
So in order to become a pro, you have to do a show that qualifies you for a national level show. And if you win that show, sometimes if you get second place, you also qualify for a national level show. Because
then you get like a card. It's like an actual, it's not just you get money so you're classified as a pro. There's a whole organization that you become a part of.
Yeah, so once you do that national show, most of them you have to win. Some of them, if you get second place, you do get that pro card. But a lot of them, you do have to get first place in order to get that pro card. And then that qualifies you for the IFBB, where if you're in the amateurs, it's the NPC.
Ah, I see. So how many shows have you done? Like, how many do you do in a year? And like, what's a what's a normal schedule like for a pro?
Honestly, I forgot how many shows I've done up
that
to this
many?
point. Yeah, I'd say anywhere from 10 to 15, starting from 2015 to now.
Oh, okay.
But last year,
So like 1 or 2 a year is
it's
normal?
fairly good and normal, I would say. Some people do take a year off season or so, depending on your category, of course. I did, I believe, 3 shows last year. Little taxing, but I love it, so it was good. But 1 to 2 are fairly normal and not overdoing it on the body.
Ah, I see. So, how long do you prep to get ready for a show?
Everyone's different. I personally probably start further out than most because I call it like my soft launch. My first couple weeks are me trying to get back into the normal schedule and cutting out those cookies and all of my fun foods. So I start about 20 weeks out. I'd say I get fairly serious between 16 and 14 weeks.
20 weeks
Yeah.
for one show?
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot more than I thought.
Some people do about a 12-week prep.
Okay. So what type of food are you eating? I mean, does it change through
It
that
can,
20 weeks? Or is
actually.
it like once week 20 is there, or week 1, we're treating it the same as a week before the show?
So it's for the most part, you eat about the same stuff. It just varies in how much you eat. I do a lot of chicken and a lot of shrimp. I do fish, but I prefer shrimp just because it doesn't taste as bad as fish.
Right.
I do a lot of white rice, cream of rice, and sometimes sweet potatoes. Towards the end, I probably do more white rice and
So are you loving the diet and the food during this whole 20-week process? Are you like, yes, this is awesome? Or are you like, dude, fuck?
A little bit of both. So I love it in the sense of I know what it's going to get me in the end.
Right.
It's not so fun because I do love burgers. I do love fries. I love ice cream, cookies. And you don't get all of that in prep.
Yeah, for 20 weeks, 20 weeks is a long time. That's 6 weeks is hard enough because usually I interview a lot of fighters and grapplers, and they'll take like a 4 to a 6 or an 8-week camp. Usually it's like 6, and they do the weight cutting and they got to change their diet up. In 6 weeks to cut out all of your favorite foods and only eat chicken and rice, like it's just so monotonous. But to do it for 20, like that's a lot of dedication, and there's a big window for you to like just break and go, I'm gonna have a cake today.
Yeah, I'd say that's why I kind of do start at that 20-week mark, so that way we're kind of like slowly taking out like the fun stuff, I would say.
Right.
But I still, even close to shows, I still get either like a refeed or a burger and fries, depending on like how I look, how it's going. So I always do get a cheat meal here and there. It's just not as much as I do in like the off season.
Okay. When you're in the off season, are you still pretty strict on the diet though, just so you don't get that way it's not so much culture shock, or you just like, fuck?
For the most part, I do eat almost the same thing, just in bigger quantities. But also, we do like to do like a clean sheet at least once a week, like Jersey Mike's or like Crazy Bowls and Wraps, something like that, Texas Roadhouse. But then we also like to have like a burger and fries as well.
Right.
But we do work around those whenever we know we're gonna eat those cheat meals.
How serious are you getting, let's say like 3 weeks out to day of show, like how serious are you counting every single thing? Like, is it really that serious?
Everything is fairly serious, especially around that 2 to 3 week mark. Once you're that far out or that close to the show, really, things could change daily. Like I could be eating a bunch of carbs one day and no carbs the next day. I could be eating the same thing because everything's clicking, everything's working, but also you're taking your water too. You're drinking a bunch all the way to like almost nothing. Mm-hmm. So it's honestly a lot. It's probably, you did the work, but it's still really hard the last 2 weeks.
Do you guys weight cut similar to like how fighters do, or not really? Like,
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
If you're doing that, you probably aren't ready for stage.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. So it's a totally different style of cutting compared to what them guys do.
Yeah.
So what would, obviously the diet is extremely important.
Yeah.
What's the lifting like during, how are you pairing your lifting with the diet? Like, is it super heavy lifting, or like what's your workout style like?
I guess it would actually depend on what you're training for. Like, if I was bikini, I wouldn't be lifting that heavy, but I am figure, so I do lift fairly heavy, especially in the off season. But as you get closer to a show, you do get tired. You don't lift as heavy, and you don't want to strain, hurt yourself, that kind of thing. So for the most part, I do lift heavy, especially for a girl. But I always try to keep it around the same. And then my coach will always tell me like what I need to do that week. Workout wise, like,
Are the workouts long?
I would say yes, because a lot of times I have cardio and training. So my cardio will be in the morning fasted, and then my training's anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on what I'm doing.
Okay.
But not everyone is like that.
Right. So like, do you work just one muscle group? How many times are you working out a day?
So I only work out once a day. And then
is it 7 days a week, or
right now it's 5 days a week.
5 days?
I don't know that I ever do 7 in a prep because rest is very important.
Right.
So without counting my cardio, I do just work out once a day, and I do focus on one body part for the most part. I will incorporate like 2 body parts on a day if we feel that something's lacking.
Okay. What would lacking be? How would you know if you're lacking? For the fans out there that are probably like, am I lacking?
So whenever you do a show, a lot of times you get feedback from the judges.
Okay.
And my feedback from the Olympia was short-term too lean. So I came in too lean, which I'm okay with because that's an easy fix. I'd rather be too lean than not lean enough and not show ready.
Right.
And then she said that I could use more density in my back, so have like a thicker back essentially. So we continue to do what we were doing and also focusing on, I guess, the negatives.
Okay. So everything goes perfect. 20 weeks, great prep, diet was on point, everything's going smooth. Once you're on the stage, how do you win? Because I've heard that it's not always, it's kind of some fuckery on how you win a show sometimes.
I guess sometimes you could say people think I'm not, I guess it all depends. But some people do think that the judges do favor certain people at shows. I don't know, because I feel like if you come and you're undeniable,
Right.
they're not going to take it away from you because everyone's going to see that. But I mean, it does happen. Like, you do work the 20 weeks, you work so hard, everything's 100%. You step on stage, someone else could come in just a tad bit better than you, and they could just take it away. It happens.
Have you heard people, make the reference like there's politics in bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Can you speak on that a little bit? What is that for people who may not understand?
People do say that there is politics in bodybuilding. I don't know that I've been in it long enough to know if it's true or not, especially on the pro side. I'm fairly newer on the pro side. But some people think that because someone has 1 million followers versus someone who has 500, and they're going against each other, that person with the huge following might win over the person that looks just as good but has less following.
Interesting. What would you think is the worst part of it all? Like, what's the worst part of bodybuilding? Your least favorite thing?
So I feel like I wouldn't do this if I didn't love it, but I will say that mentally it is very challenging, and especially like post-show, I think is probably the worst for me, because I do get body dysmorphia, and I would say that's probably like the worst thing that I would say I've gotten out of all of this.
So did you have that like earlier before you got into bodybuilding?
I would say, yeah, at least some, like what girl doesn't?
Right.
But I feel like once I got into bodybuilding and I figured out how far I could take my body and then not being like that all the time, it's very hard mentally.
So like you went through quite a transformation, you know, from the time you started, because 2014, you're over 10 years in now.
Yeah.
And I remember what you looked like then and what you look like now. Most people don't take it to that point. Was there like, did something, you know, push you to want to do that? Like, were you...
Push me into bodybuilding or push me to continue?
Well, I'm trying to think how I want to phrase it. Like, with bodybuilding, like were people bullying you like at all? Like, is that why you're like, I wanted to get in shape so much?
I felt
or was
like,
it just like...
Yeah, I'd say like middle school, high school, I didn't realize that I was a little on the bigger side. But
See, I didn't ever think that. I've known you forever, but...
I mean, that verse now, it's completely, I look like a whole different person.
Right.
But I did get bullied a little bit here and there, but I mean, girls are vicious, so it happens.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys handle that. I didn't know if maybe that was like something like, you know, people picking on you. You were like, oh, I'm going to, you know, take this to the next level.
So, I mean, that did suck, of course, but I think one day I just woke up and I just wanted to be a better version of myself, so I started working out, and then I had no idea what I was doing, so I went from like chubby to just a stick thin person, and then that's when I saw Dana compete, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, I want to try that.
Right.
And then I started to try it, but you know, you gotta find your way, find the coach that's right for you, so I feel like it did take me a while, but also having people in your corner that support you is something that I didn't really have the whole time. And so I feel like once I got like the right people is when I like continued to go.
Did people like make rude comments to you now?
Yeah. Not to my face.
I could see that maybe happening.
Because why would you do that? I mean, keyboard warriors are one thing. I do get like people calling me a man, or I look better before, or I get like puking emoji faces and stuff like that.
Jesus, people are so fucking... Damn.
I normally don't let it bother me. I'd say I probably got bothered one time and I was a day out and I like got like 3 or 4, one after another. And I was just like, I don't understand why this is happening.
Right. And I mean, I think what people don't understand is that you're not really... when you're coming into a show and you're that close to a show, it's not a beauty pageant. It's a competition for muscle.
Yeah, but so there is a little bit of a beauty pageant when it comes to it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the muscles and how you look are like a really big thing, but they also want to see like a pretty face, your hair done nice, all that kind of stuff. So.
Right. Is it pretty easy just to, you know, ignore that? Or is it something that you're like, damn, I wish these people would shut the fuck up?
I do fairly well with ignoring it. Every now and then I'll speak about it because I just think it's silly for people to just say that for no reason. Like, you don't even know me, and I don't even look like this all the time.
Right, yeah.
So,
I think that's something that people don't understand either, is that, you know, when you're that close to a show, you look a lot different than what you normally...
Yeah.
You know.
And also, we take photos of what we think is our best. So that photo that you see is like just a fraction of what I even look like, because in person I look different than I do in photos, vice versa. But I might not be for everyone, and that's okay, but I don't see the need to be rude about it.
Right, yeah. I mean, you could just as easily, you know, make fun of the guys with pipe cleaner arms and have a big gut. And I mean, those guys get roasted online too, so...
It's a vicious world.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So, I get what's like the mentality of training. For me, I don't think that I could work that hard, because like I lift, but I'm not a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Okay. I've competed in jiu-jitsu and I've trained up for that, and then went to a competition and got fucking destroyed. And I was like, gee, no, I can't do this. How do you handle putting in 20 weeks worth of diet and exercise and like extreme diet and exercise?
Yeah.
And then you go on to a competition and then you don't win. What is that like? Is that where the body dysmorphia comes from? Like,
no, so actually it's crazy. Like, we do these shows and we get so lean and we don't even think that we're that lean. We think that we're not even like ready. And like I said, I got told I was too lean. So I'm sitting here thinking I'm not lean enough. I'm not good enough. And then I was too lean. But like, I went into my first national show in 2022. And if anyone doesn't know about bodybuilding, when you're on stage, a lot of times when they move you to the middle, there's a high chance that you're going to win that class. So
okay.
I was sitting there thinking that I'm more than likely going to win this show, and I got second. I was like devastated. It happened, but the next day I was over it, and I was ready to figure out my next show, and I was ready to do the damn thing. And that's when I completely was like, I'm just going to go at this as hard as I can, and I'm going to make sure that I win. So my next show was where I won my pro card, and then I won the overall, which is where you go against everyone else who won their class. So not only did I win my class, but I won my class. I won against everyone who won their class.
Was that I guess that was like your biggest
Yep.
victory? Okay. What's the biggest show that you've ever been in?
So a lot of the pro shows I've done, all of them have been 20 plus girls. So anywhere from 20 to 24, 25 is the biggest show I've done.
So the people who put the shows on, like, who are the organizations? Is it all like one organization, just IFBB, or is it like, because I've heard like Arnold and there's...
So I might have to have Justin help me with this question, but
Come on in.
can you?
We need a seasoned professional here.
I'm gonna
The
tag someone in.
organizations, so like, I do grappling, and there's a bunch of different organizations, but the premier one is IBJJF. And with you guys, does the IFBB put on all the shows, or is there a bunch of different organizations?
So in the leagues that we compete in, there's kind of two main ones: the NPC, which is the amateur level, and then the IFBB, which is the pro level.
Okay.
So all the shows that we compete in are now IFBB, and that's all one one organization. However, there are different like regions that are ran by like promoters. So California and the West will have certain promoters that put on shows still under the IFBB umbrella, and then there will be guys in Texas, guys in the Midwest, guys out east. So it's all under the umbrella of the IFBB, but you have kind of regions, I guess, ran by promoters.
So what's the Arnold shows? Is that their own? Are they their own thing?
I think that's kind of its own thing. It's still an NPC and IFBB sanctioned event.
Okay.
So right now the Arnold is going on, and IFBB pros are on stage and stuff as we speak. I think it's a little bit separate. It's still under the IFBB and NPC, but I don't know like who promotes it or runs it technically. It's
okay.
Obviously Arnold has a big part of it, but I don't think he's out like promoting it directly.
Right, they're just kind of using his name.
Yeah.
I see. Well, thank you very, very
Thank
much.
you.
And maybe we'll have Justin on the show because he's got a plethora of knowledge when it comes to bodybuilding. I still think my arms are bigger though. I'm just playing. So back to the Arnold thing. Is that like, I guess that's like that's the Mecca. That's everything.
No, so that's
there's a better show to win?
There's one more. So I would say it's the Olympia and then the Arnold.
Right. Okay.
So
are you going to compete at the Olympia?
Well, I competed last year, but in order for me to compete this year, I have to win another pro show.
Okay.
So that's the goal this year.
So that's where we're at right now. We
Yes.
got to win another pro show, then we got to go to the Olympia.
Yes.
So what do they look for? Like how do you know like how do you get your body in shape like that to win? Is there like a criteria? Or is it just like you just work out and hope for the best?
Well, the reason I chose the figure category is because that's what my body fits best in. But also the NPC, IFBB, they have like a list of what the categories, what they're looking for in each category. And also, I do believe that the judges even though they're all like looking for that similar look, they almost always have a different like look in their mind. But also, in their defense, they have to judge what shows up. So I could come and all these girls could be just as lean as me, so now they're picking the leanest girl. Versus, for instance, the top Olympian is Sid Gillian, and she looks amazing all around, but she's not as lean as me. So she would be like the ideal of what everyone's looking for. I mean, she's won 9 times now.
So, and she's in your weight class, and you share the stage with her?
Yeah, so she's
Okay.
in my division, yes, and she has won the Olympia 9 times now, but she just retired. But that was their overall.
So you're telling me
look.
there's a chance.
That's what I'm hoping for, right?
Right. So I guess that's kind of the Sid Gillian you said?
Yeah.
That's kind of who you're trying to,
Yeah.
this is where we need to be.
Yeah, that's what they've made.
Is she an inspiration, or is she like...
So I think she's amazing. I think she's done very well.
She older than you, been in it longer, or younger?
I think she's the same age, but she got into it, I believe, earlier on, and then became a pro earlier on, and obviously took it serious.
Right. How much, you hear genetics a lot in bodybuilding.
Yes.
And for me, I feel like, the genetics are a really big deal. Because, like, if you just don't have the build, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much muscle you pack on, it's just not going to look right. Do you
Yes.
agree with that? Or do you
I
think
mean,
that
yes
you can...
and no. Genetics do play a part, but also hard work. Like,
Right.
you got to put your all into the sport. And yeah, some people don't have the genetics, so like aesthetically they don't look as pleasing, but they can still do well.
Right. Just the likelihood of you actually winning is just not quite there.
I guess it depends.
Because it seems like it's the real slim waist, and your shoulders
I mean, yeah,
have to
that's
be
what they're
wide.
looking for, especially
Yeah.
with male bodybuilders. Just a tiny waist, the
Right.
big build. But again, obviously,
With girls, it's more leg, you think, or
it depends on the category.
okay,
Wellness is definitely legs and glutes, where
Right.
figure is overall proportioned.
do you think that like female bodybuilding? Do you think that it's think it's like a healthy sport that you would encourage a lot of women to get into, or is it maybe a little?
I'd say 50-50.
a little bit taboo almost.
I mean, if you do it right, you follow the plan 100%, you have the right coach, the right people in your corner, it can be fine. But I would say bodybuilding is not as healthy as people think
Even
it
though
is.
you're real strict on your diet.
Yeah.
I understand.
But like, I would say like off season's good, kind of early on, getting ready for a show. But the closer you get to the show, like that's not healthy, and that's why girls
Right.
can't stay that lean for
Because
that long.
you're just taxing your body
Yes.
so hard that final stretch. What's the most bizarre thing that you've ever seen a girl do to try to win a show?
I don't know that I've seen anything that bizarre to even like
So it's
speak
just
on.
nothing crazy.
I don't think I've
nobody
seen anything crazy at a
behind
show
the
yet.
scenes about to walk on the stage just doing something nuts. Like
I haven't seen that
never
yet.
seen
No,
any of that. Okay.
no. I think my very first show, I did see a guy just eating a bunch of pizza before he got on stage. I was very confused.
Did he win?
I don't know.
I don't think he won.
Probably not.
I can't see how that would be conducive.
I believe I saw at least 3 pieces in his hand.
But I mean, would you like if a girl came to you and was like, I kind of want to get into this, would you be 100% honest with her, like size her up, like, hey, you just don't have the build for this, or?
I don't think I would ever say that. I would say if it's something that you want to try, definitely give it a shot. Because, I mean, it's not for everyone, but sometimes people do it and they fall in love with it and they want to continue
Right.
to get better and try. But I will say, I do let people know, like, what they're looking, like, what they're going to be looking at whenever it does come to shows, because it is kind of expensive. It's just a hobby. Not a lot of people make money off of this unless you're like Chris Bumstead.
Seems like
all of
there's
those guys.
there's some guys that are making some good money now. Like I don't know what that Sullick guy makes, but he's super
Yeah.
fucking famous. He's like the most regular dude too, but he's just everywhere. You know?
He is now, yes, definitely. But I think males have a higher chance of making better money in bodybuilding than women do. Because women, we win a show, we win like outside of the Olympia, of course. Most shows you win anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000, which that honestly is just covering your cost of travel, everything.
20 weeks of food.
Yes. Alone.
Right. I understand. Which, I mean, that's actually, I thought it'd be less than that. That actually kind of surprised me because, like, I've got a friend, you know him, and he's trying to get into the UFC, and, like, you know, them guys are getting in there and they're fighting for $500.
Oh, my God.
And it's like, whoa. You know, and I think he makes more money than that now, but I do know there was some fights where, you know, that's what it was. And I know some other fighters that, you know, they get their checks after they win, and, you know, they'll laminate them and you'll see them in the gym, and it's like, whoa, $500 is all you got paid for that? God dang. Like, that's just, you know,
I mean, and if you don't,
you got to really be passionate about it.
Yeah, and then even if you don't get a lot of shows, top 3 is where you make some money.
Right.
So if you don't win, you don't make any money at all.
And
so
then you only do 2 shows a
Yeah.
year. So is there a way for, you know, for female bodybuilders to make good money outside of like the stage, but still using bodybuilding as like their platform?
I think so. So like some girls do coaching, some girls do posing, and then you can make money sometimes you can make money off of getting sponsors. So some sponsors, if like they feel like your platform's big enough, they'll sponsor you, and then if you sell X amount, they'll pay you, and some of them just pay you based on your following, and you get a salary plus commission. I mean, it really all depends on who you are.
Yeah. No, I've seen, like, it's crazy. Some of the people that you see on stage don't have any following, and then you don't even really associate those people with, like, being bodybuilders, but you'll see some girl on Instagram that has, you know, 500,000 followers, and, like, that's what you assume is bodybuilding. It's like they don't even compete. Right. It's weird.
It's crazy.
It'd be like being known as a UFC fighter, but you've never fought.
Yeah.
So, it's a very strange industry.
Yes.
It seems like a lot of guys like die in bodybuilding, and we know what causes that. Do you see that with the women too? Like, is there any women that are like kind of having like health problems after?
I don't personally know anyone that has passed away from bodybuilding. Before we got here, I did see a post that a girl did pass away today due to dehydration. So it does happen. Obviously, I'm assuming her wasn't the best if that happened.
Made a mistake.
Somewhere along the line, there was a mistake made. But I think since
it somebody that you knew, or just like
I just saw her on Instagram, to be honest. Obviously, it's very sad. But I've only seen it a few times. I do know it happens more than a few times, but personally, I've never known anyone to pass away from bodybuilding.
That's good. That's good. No, I would be, you know, it's like I have daughters. So like if my daughter was like, hey, I want to get into bodybuilding, and, you know, obviously I want her to go to the gym and do that. But, you know, she wanted to really push the envelope and you know, really start packing on some size and maybe do some things that, you know, it takes to win. Yeah. You know, because if you're going to win on, you know, in some of these shows, you have to be willing to do what it takes. Yes. You know, and I won't press you on that, but, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is.
When it comes to that, I would say that, get a coach that knows about it. Mm-hmm. Get blood work done. Get a coach that knows how to read the blood work. Right. Get a coach that knows enough to tell you the pros and cons of everything. Someone who's 100% honest with you about what could happen, what will happen.
And also, I think a big thing is if you're going to do that, what do you take? You know, because I hear these people just when you go to a gym, you're going to hear people talk about steroids.
Yeah, they're
And
silly because some of
I'm
these
like,
kids don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, like little kids talking about blasting Trent. I'm like,
We actually,
What the
Justin and
fuck?
I hear that all the time, and we think it's the most ridiculous thing.
it's like, hey, don't do that, please.
out of all the things, I don't know why that's the first thing that they go for.
Because
and
it gets talked about online the
If
most.
if you ever do want to talk to Justin, he knows more about
Right, yeah.
like the ins and outs of it. It's because of being a doctor and knowing all of the fun stuff. But we talk about how silly it is that these kids,
Yeah,
17, 18-year-olds are doing that when they don't have
a base or
Yes.
anything to really
they know
build
nothing.
off of.
They just heard someone take it, and so they're like, I'm going to take it. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's not knowing what that can do. And then also, you can take whatever you want. You can take all the supplements, all the protein, but if your diet's bad
Yeah.
and you just don't have the willpower to get up and go to the
It's
gym
not
every
going
day.
to do anything for you.
Yeah, it's not going to give you the energy to go work out. It's not going to give you like the mentality
Right.
to be a champion.
Yeah,
you know?
so people think that someone who takes steroids is amazing and they're going to look so good. But
But
in
that's
the
like
end,
that's the key. That's the missing ingredient.
No,
you know?
that's like
it's really not.
later on down the road. You got to get a base. You got to get yourself right with your food. You're the gym. Like that's like probably the very last thing that.
Yeah, that's like the very last thing that you incorporate once everything else is exact.
Yeah,
You know, that's not where you start.
because it's not going to do anything for you if you're not doing all of the things that you're supposed to do in the first
it's
place.
like putting a supercharger on like a V6
Yeah.
car. It
Yeah.
just don't make no sense. Anyway, so back to business. How long do you think that you can really compete? What's the normal lifespan of a female bodybuilder at the highest level?
I'm not sure. For instance, Sid has won 9 times, so that means she's been doing this for at least 9 years. But I'm assuming she did it probably around 10 to get started and go that way. I've been in bodybuilding since 2015, but I haven't done it fully except these past couple of years.
Right.
So taking it serious, doing my off season, following a plan. I probably say I'd probably do it for like another 2 or 3 more years. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop working out, stop having a regimen.
Right.
I guess it depends on how my body feels is when I feel the need to stop.
Right. And do you feel like, when you get to the Olympia, do you feel like that you really have a shot at winning?
I mean, I would hope one day that I do have a shot at winning. But
Right.
that's the whole goal of bodybuilding is to win a show and get to the Olympia and win the Olympia because that means you're the best of the best.
Right.
But honestly, just getting there is something in itself.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Everybody that I interview, if they're a fighter or a business person or whatever their thing is that they're trying to accomplish, the podcast is called Garbage to Gold. It's all about starting from the very bottom and accomplishing something, even if it's minuscule.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the whole term garbage to gold.
Yeah.
It can apply across the board to a lot of different things. And I always ask people, do you really feel like that you can do this? Like, do you 100% believe in your heart that you have what it takes to accomplish this thing that you're setting out to do?
Right, yeah.
And sometimes people say no, and I'm like, that's
Well, then
not
why
what
are you doing it?
Right. I'm like, you weren't supposed to say that.
I fully believe that at some point in my life I know I'll make it to the Olympia again.
Yeah.
But who shows up? That's
Right.
if I'm looking my best, that doesn't mean that the next person doesn't look better than me.
Right.
So I hope that one day I could win. But
I
in
think
the
that you
meantime,
could.
I will continue to try my hardest and keep going.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're getting dead last at these shows. So, I mean, you've had some wins, some big wins too. So it's not unrealistic to think that could happen. And it seems like you have a great coach and you're doing everything right. So it seems entirely plausible. When you do finally hang it up, what do you think? What's the next chapter after bodybuilding for Elizabeth Nieder?
I would say I'd continue to work out. I'd continue to eat my chicken and rice. But
Do you have any business plans? Like, do you got anything lined up that you're going to go into, start your own gym?
I work in accounting.
Oh, okay. That's super exciting.
Right. So I do payroll stuff, a little bit of tax stuff for payroll and admin things. I personally love my job because I love the people I work with, the people I work for. So it makes it easy to do my job. I don't see myself leaving there anytime soon. I don't know that I do ever see myself coaching though.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do it.
Just because I know how hard it is to coach me.
Right.
I don't know that I want to coach someone else that's like me.
Yeah. No, I'm a real estate broker and I do investments and stuff. And there's the internet is littered with real estate coaches.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like, fuck, shut up. And I thought about it. I was like, ooh, I want a Ferrari. I could do
Right.
that. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all.
Yeah.
Because I've been to those seminars and I've met some of the coaches and they're nice guys. But there's a lot of fraud in that industry, and the people that come to receive coaching, I'm like, oh, I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
I just no, sorry. And maybe I'm an asshole, but at least I'm removing myself from the situation.
Right.
So I would just feel terrible taking money from somebody and they expect to learn something from me, and I'm just like, I can't help
do
you.
that.
I can't help you. But no, I think that what happens if you win the Olympia? You're still that's gonna be a whole life changing.
That would be
thing,
be life changing. Yes. I'd probably try again.
Yeah.
But for anyone who's not into bodybuilding, anyone who, unless they change the rules, anyone who has ever won an Olympia can always come back anytime they want to compete in the Olympia. So let's say Sid did retire. Let's say 5 years down the road, she wants to go and do it again because she's getting an itch.
Right.
As of now, the rules state that she can come back and compete.
So she could show up on your day.
Yeah. If she wanted to, of course.
Well, and that goes back to, be undeniable.
Yeah.
And that's what my kids are a little bit too young to understand that, because, they're starting to get into sports and, you know how kids are.
Yes.
And, you try to teach them, it's like, it's not because they're, their dad's the coach or mom's the coach or, that they're, that they're getting favored. It's that
They're
if
good.
if you want to be the quarterback or if you want to be the pitcher or you want to be the top player, you have to put in the work.
You have to show them that you're the top player.
And that's a tough thing to teach a kid because I wasn't that kid. So do you think, what about having a family? Do you think that's something that, might happen? Or
I don't, personally, I don't ever want kids. I have 12 brothers and sisters.
Oh, holy shit.
And they all have kids, so there's about 30 grandchildren.
Damn.
So if I ever want one, I just steal one, give it back. I love my family. They're amazing. We're all fairly close, but I prefer not to have a child. I have dogs.
A dog lover. No children. Well, hey, it's not for everybody. Having kids is we're getting ready to have one.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's a big commitment. It takes a long time. But at the same time, they're fucking awesome. They are.
I love
really
my
awesome.
nieces and nephews, and they're amazing. And I just want to be that cool aunt that buys them their stuff that their mom won't.
Right. Well, before we get out of here, what's some advice that you would give to, maybe a girl that's watching this and thinks that, she's going to try to make a run at it? What's 3 to 5 good things that she's going to need to work on before she does her first competition?
Working on, I would say, 1, finding the right coach. I wouldn't be a coach hopper, but I would find the right coach, the one that's best for you, the one that's most knowledgeable, that's going to get you to where you want to go and help you get there. Following your diet 100%, following what that person says, because if you're following what that person says and then you hear someone else over here say, well, this is what I'm doing though, and then you try to do that.
Yeah, I can see how that could be.
Then you're messing with your own plan, and now your coach doesn't know what's going on. You're not going to get to where you want to go. So following your plan 100%.
Kind of
Having
trust
the
the
right,
process.
trust the process. It's hard, but you gotta trust the process.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of people, that you're competing with, and it's easy to look at them and be like, oh, well, what are they doing? Well, maybe we should do that.
Right.
But don't do that.
Don't do that. I would say definitely give your coach a few tries, because they have to understand your body. They have to get the feel of what's going on, what works best for you, and sometimes it's trial and error. But again, trusting the process, getting to where you need to be. I would say posing's a big thing. So they want your body amazing top to bottom, but if I look amazing and the next person looks amazing, but their posing's better than mine, they're going to choose that person over me, even if I look just a tad bit better.
Is that a pretty tough skill to learn, the posing?
For some of them, I would say yes. I only do figure. I don't know how to pose the other girls, mostly because it looks a little harder than what I do, and it's a little more girly than what I do. I do class it up a little bit, but not as much as these other girls do.
Right.
So I would say posing's a really big thing. Making sure you're financially able to do it, because shows are expensive.
How much does a show cost?
It depends.
Average.
Well, you pay for tanning, you pay for hair and makeup for women. So tanning's like $175, hair and makeup is probably $300. Your suit could cost anywhere from $200 to like $1,000, depending on how crazy you're gonna go.
Damn.
The hotel, the show for amateurs, you do have to pay to enter the show.
Pay to get in?
Which that does vary, so unfortunately I don't know that answer.
Okay.
You have to pay for either your NPC card as an amateur or your pro card as a pro. I believe the pro card last year was $275. Amateur was probably $175 or so. And then I feel like there's a few more things you have to pay for. I just can't think of it at
It's
the moment.
expensive.
It's
So make sure
expensive.
that you've got it, you have the money to even do it.
Yes, definitely. And a good support system.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to do this and not have a good support system, because it is hard. It is taxing. You do have to
Good
think
family
about,
and friends.
you have to think about yourself first. Like my diet, like I have to carry my food around wherever I go if we're going to an outing, because I can't eat what they're eating. And I don't need people shoving food in my face saying, oh, but why just have one bite?
Yeah.
My family knows not to do that.
That would be tough. You got to carry your food with you.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're watching this and you're thinking that this is something for you, that's the level that she's going to. Like, I watched that Arnold documentary that came out not too long ago. Did you see it? It was I think it was on Netflix. And his dad or like his grandpa or somebody in his family, like an immediate family member, had died while he was like getting ready for the Olympia. And they're like, well, are you coming home? And he's like, no. He's like, I can't have any distraction.
Yeah, it's hard.
And he's like, I got upset about it after, he's like, but I couldn't deal with that. He's like, I'm trying to win the Olympia. So like, is that too extreme?
I mean, for me, yes. I still make time for my family, but especially like my sister, we work around what I'm doing.
Right.
So she'll meet me for like coffee or shopping, something that I can do without being upset about what we're doing. But I mean, when I go to her house, I pack like 3 or 4 bags because I need all of this stuff, and I don't know if she's gonna have it.
Right.
So I have to make sure I have it, have to make sure I'm ready. And that's just for a night. I'm packing 3 or 4 bags.
Is the community, like when you go to these shows, you mentioned, have a good support group, around you. What's the environment like when you're at these shows? What's the bodybuilding community like? Is it friendly or is it toxic? Is it kind of like...
I've personally had good experiences. I know some people have had bad experiences, and I feel terrible for that, because all of mine have been so good, and I've met some of my like closest friends through bodybuilding. So because you've worked so hard and the next girl works so hard and they understand what you've gone through, a lot of times they're super nice backstage and they're like willing to help. I remember one time I forgot my jewelry and someone gave me an extra bracelet they had, and someone else gave me some earrings they had. So for the most part, I've personally had good experiences. Everyone's always been nice backstage, fairly helpful if needed. But
So it's a good community to
for
be
the
a
most part,
of.
yeah. But then you do have people that do think they're better than the next person, so they're kind of snooty patooty. But for
Right.
the most part, I'd say I've made a lot of friends in the community, and they're very uplifting and friendly.
Nice. No, that sounds awesome. You know, and surprisingly, the jiu-jitsu community is a lot like that too. You would think that it would just be a bunch of meatheads that are ignorant as fuck, but
Yeah.
surprisingly, the fighters are really nice and respectful. I mean, for the most part, there's some. It's just like you said. There's a few people that are kind of well known that are known for being kind of assholes, but
Right.
for the most part, the community as a whole is surprisingly friendly. So, well, I think that covers just about everything. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I've learned a lot about female bodybuilding, and I think the people are going to love it.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I think we pretty much covered it all.
All right. We did 53 minutes, so.
Dang.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up. Thank you, Elizabeth, for coming on and sitting with us. Means a lot. We've been talking about trying to get you on for
It's been
freaking
so hard.
months. But I had fun. It was a great interview. Like I said, I learned a lot. And be sure to subscribe. And where can the people who are watching this, where can they find you? You got Instagram?
I have Instagram and Facebook, but Instagram's my main one. It is ifbbpro.liz with 2 Z's, Nieder, Nieder. And then I do also have TikTok, which is the exact same.
No YouTube?
No YouTube, not yet.
You should start a vlog.
We honestly have been talking about that.
Yeah. It's tough, but I mean, it's fun. For what you guys are doing, I think it would be awesome.
We've talked about it. I think eventually we'll get there, but it's so hard with all of the time I have.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in the next video, and make sure to subscribe.
Thank you.
Back in it, baby, just in a town. I'm on the edge, I ain't coming down.